It's another week and yet another 7-round Steelers mock draft here on Steelers Talk. This is our fourth of the draft season to this point. Today, going to be breaking down my picks for all 7 rounds of the 2026 NFL Draft for the Pittsburgh Steelers. We got multiple trades, including a truly blockbuster trade at the top of today's show. So make sure you guys stick around here to see what that trade is here in just a few seconds. But first, my boss has told me that we need 750 likes on today's video in order to do another mock draft next week. So if you guys like the weekly mock draft kind of format that we have here on Saturdays, make sure you guys click that thumbs up icon to tell my bosses that you want more of these Steelers mock drafts. And this week, guys, I'm going to be making a blockbuster trade for superstar wide receiver A.J. Brown. At the NFL Combine this week, there was a lot of whispers about A.J. Brown potentially being dealt. And according to Jeff McClain and Carlos A. Lopez here, they say the Eagles could potentially make a decision on wide receiver A.J. Brown's future within the next 10 days. That's coming up really fast. McClain notes that it is unlikely Philadelphia accepts anything less than what Seattle received for DK Metcalf, a second-round pick, or what Buffalo received for Stephon Diggs, a second- and fifth-round picks. All right, so if that's the price tag here, guys, or it's going to take a second-round pick and a player, I think a trade that makes sense for both sides is the Steelers wrap up their second-round pick this year, just like they did last year for DK Metcalf, and then add Nick Herbig to the deal, their third edge rusher that's likely wanting to get paid and wanting a full-time starting role. And I doubt the Steelers are going to trade TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith. Something's got to give in that room. And for me, guys, when I look at this situation, I would rather have A.J. Brown, a top 5 receiver in the game today, can do-it-all type of dude that's out there every single play for the Steelers offense and turned a major weakness from this team a year ago, the wide receiver position, into a major strength. And all I have to do is include Nick Herbig, a guy that, if he's on the team this year, he plays 15 to 20 snaps a game as your third edge rusher. Like, I think A.J. Brown is clearly more valuable to your football team than Nick Herbig would be. And then if I have to add a second-round pick along with that, I think that's a deal that the Eagles might think about, and they need edge rusher help. I think Herbig fits their system, and I think that this is a trade that could realistically happen if an A.J. Brown trade were to happen here in Pittsburgh. Just so you guys know, just for the purposes of this mock draft, I'm also going to project that Aaron Rodgers is going to be back on a $10 to $15 million deal, and then the Steelers will also sign his old buddy from Green Bay, Romeo Doubs, to be this team's wide receiver 3. Now, you might be saying, but Jack, the Steelers can't afford that wide receiver room in 2026. Yes, they can. A.J. Brown's cap hit next year, if the Steelers trade for him, is like $15 million per season. Okay, and one of the things about his contract is there's so much money in void years. The bad news is you got to pay so much money at the end of it when his contract's over. But while he's playing, you're not paying all that much against the cap to have maybe the best wide receiver duo in football. And you get Romeo Doubs, a really good route runner that has chemistry with Aaron Rodgers, as your wide receiver 3. We know Rodgers prefers to play with veteran receivers as opposed to really young rookie ones. So I think this is something that Rodgers would definitely approve of. But let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. Would you accept this trade if you were the Pittsburgh Steelers? Give me an A for accept or D for decline. For me, I would certainly be willing to do this to get a guy of A.J. Brown's caliber here in Pittsburgh, but let me know what you guys think. A for accept, D for decline. This will be the pinned comment on today's show. In just a second here, I'm going to tell you about our sponsor today at Harry's. While I tell you about our sponsor today, give me an A for accept or D for decline. And with that, let's have word from our sponsor today at Harry's. And life is all about continual improvement, guys, and that includes the products that we use every single day. Your phone is practically a supercomputer in your pocket. Cars can park and even drive themselves. Your headphones cancel outside noise like magic, but your razor is likely still flimsy, overpriced, and stuck back in 2008. That's where our friends at Harry's Plus come in. Harry's Plus has a refined pivoting system to reach every corner of your face, refined blade tech for a closer, smoother shave, and a weighted metal handle, which is Harry's heaviest handle ever for added control and comfort. It feels like an expensive shave without having to break the bank for it. With Harry's Plus, each blade is honed at 3 different angles to cut hair cleanly at the root without tugging. Blade spacing is optimized to glide smoothly and avoid clogging. Every cartridge includes a lubricating strip with aloe and vitamin E to calm skin while you shave as well. But maybe the best part about Harry's Plus is how affordable it is. Harry's owns their own world-class blade factory in Germany, Germany, guys, which means no outsourcing and no middlemen to drive up costs. And because they control the entire process from steel to shelf, they keep costs low for you and pass the savings on to you. And if you don't love your shave, Harry's is going to make it right with you. No questions asked. Their risk-free trial means there's zero downside to giving them a shot. And just to give you a kind of an idea here that I actually use and love this product, guys, I got my Harry's Plus razor with me here today. And the thing that I like about Harry's Plus, guys, is it's got the weighted metal handle here, which gives it a little bit of heft. It gives you that little extra comfort, that little extra control, that little bit of premium feel that you don't get with plastic razors that I really enjoy about Harry's. So if you guys want to try out Harry's Plus today, for a limited time only, our listeners get the Harry's Plus trial set for only $10 at harrys.com/chat. The set includes the all-new Harry's Plus razor, one refined 5-blade cartridge, a 2-ounce foaming shave gel, and a travel cover to protect your blades on the go. Just head on over to harrys.com/chat to claim this offer, and after you purchase, they'll ask where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you. A big thank you to Harry's for sponsoring today's edition of Steelers Talk. So with my first pick here, I'm going to take somebody here at 21 with the wide receiver position already taken care of that I think would be an awesome fit here in Patrick Graham's defense here in Pittsburgh. I'm going to take care of the safety position because I want Jalen Ramsey in the nickel slot position for us next year, and that's going to be Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, the safety out of Toledo. And this guy is just a very natural football player in terms of his instincts. This guy just has a great nose for the football. Great peanut punch. I think he forced like 7 fumbles last year. He's great in coverage. He's got good speed for a safety as well. Over 200 pounds. He's an awesome tackler, man. Like, this guy is just a ferocious hitter, and I think that is something that Patrick Graham really likes. You pair him up with Deshaun Elliott in that Steelers secondary, and then you got Jalen Ramsey in the slot. That 3 safety, big nickel, whatever you guys want to call it, type of system that Patrick Graham, I think, is going to be implementing here in Pittsburgh could be absolutely nasty, and McNeil-Warren, for me, would be a day one starter in the Steelers defense. But now I'm going to go out and get a nose tackle here for the Steelers, something that this team has desperately needed for years, and they have failed to acknowledge that Keanu Benton is not a nose tackle. He is, at best, a 5 technique, 3 technique, penetrative type of player. Dominique Orange, big citrus out of Iowa State, man. You watch this guy's film, he blows up runs very consistently. He's got a lot of power, and this guy's just a circle in the middle of your defense that's not moving. He's a tree stump, and that's exactly what we need. I mean, Keanu Benton would get double-teamed and get driven backwards, and it would create a massive lane for running backs to run through. It was a big problem for the Pittsburgh Steelers run defense these last 2 seasons. You need somebody that can hold their own. Big citrus from Iowa State is certainly capable of doing that, and doing that, in my opinion, from day one in the National Football League. Then in round 3, I'm going to take a cornerback from Georgia. Dalen Everett ran super fast at the combine this week, has super long arms, just like Joey Porter Jr. And, obviously coming from Kirby Smart's defense there at Georgia, lots of man-match stuff there, lots of off coverage. But I think that he's got the long arms and the physicality to, be a press man corner when Patrick Graham asks him to do that. And, Graham is going to ask these corners to do a lot of different things. Play man, play zone match, play man match, and do a lot of these different things to kind of keep opposing offenses on their toes. And, Everett, I think, still has a little ways to go in his technique, and he's going to have to develop a little bit. But I think the Steelers are going to bring back either Asante Samuel Jr. or James Pierre. And I think Everett would be more of a backup to start his career that can eventually turn into this team's CB2. But he's got the speed that you look for. He's got the long arms you look for. He's got the pedigree from an awesome program there at Georgia. And we know the Steelers love their Georgia Bulldogs. So they had a combine formal meeting with Everett this week, so they're clearly interested in him. I think he fits what the Steelers like at this position. I think there's a decent chance he goes to Pittsburgh in round 3. Now, it's time for our first trade-up of the day, and we're actually going to trade up to pick number 86, the pick right after the Steelers take Dalen Everett at 85. And we're going to take our number 99 overall pick and one of our 4th-round picks here and trade up with the Chargers to go up to pick number 86. And we traded Nick Herbig away, for A.J. Brown. And we do have Jack Sawyer, who I think is a good player and solid player, especially on early downs, good run defender, good edge setter, competitive as all hell. But I want somebody to kind of fill Nick Herbig's role as that true designated rotational pass rusher. And I'm going to go out and get Romello Height, the outside linebacker for Texas Tech. And Height is like 235 pounds, undersized, like Nick Herbig was. But like Nick, he is super dynamic, quick around the edge. And this guy just gets after quarterbacks. And kind of like Nick, despite being a little bit, undersized, he plays the run pretty well. He's not like a complete pushover in the run game. In fact, I think between him and David Bailey, he set the edge better than Bailey did last year, even though he is slightly smaller than David Bailey is. And obviously Bailey's an awesome player. I'm not trying to, say that height is as good as David Bailey, but I think height could be a very good rotational pass rusher on third downs, just like Nick Herbig has been for this team for multiple years. And of course, you reset that rookie contract there. We got that type of player on a rookie deal for the next 4 seasons to complement TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith. And oh yeah, our new outside linebacker coach, CJ Ayu, just coached this guy at Texas Tech. So I'm guessing that he is going to be pounding the table for a guy like this, especially if the Steelers end up trading Nick Herbig this offseason. And I think that he'd be a perfect fit and a perfect 4th or 3rd guy in this rotation here for the Pittsburgh Steelers heading into the 2026 season. Then around 4, I'll take somebody that I believe has a chance to be a starting guard in this league. I think he's a top 100 player in this class. Dane Brugler from The Athletic seems to agree with me. Jalen Farmer, the guard from Kentucky, big body. And I do expect the Steelers to bring in somebody that's a veteran to play left guard, whether that's bringing back Isaac Seumalo or bringing in some other veteran. I just think that with how much youth you have on this offensive line, you got to have that elder statesman in the group. But with that said, Seumalo, even if you bring him back, it's going to be a short-term deal. You need somebody to provide depth. You need somebody that could maybe eventually take over that left guard starting spot. I think Farmer at a 4th-round value makes a lot of sense for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But then we get to round 6. We make a little bit of a jump here, and we get to Bishop Fitzgerald here at pick 213, the safety out of USC, the big safety, big playmaking, instinctual safety. And this is somebody that I want to take a chance on if I am Omar Khan and the Pittsburgh Steelers. We already brought in Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, but Jalen Ramsey's not going to be around forever. Neither is Deshaun Elliott. And, I'm hoping Fitzgerald can come in, be a special teamer year 1, be a big dude that can be a backup in his first few years here in the league. And then eventually when you move on from Jalen Ramsey, maybe he could, find himself a role as a safety in the 3 safety big nickel packages we're going to see from Patrick Graham here in Pittsburgh. And then in round 6, I'm going to go with Keyshawn Elliott, the linebacker from Arizona State. Dane Brugler actually has Elliott as a top 100 player in this class, and the consensus big board is letting me take Keyshawn Elliott here in round 6. So I'm going to take advantage of that. Elliott is somebody that I think is more of a developmental linebacker prospect, as most linebacker prospects honestly are heading into the league. It's just a tough position to play a high level at right away, transitioning from college to pro. But I think the Steelers, with Patrick Queen going into his final year of his contract, I think they will keep him. They won't extend him, but they need somebody to kind of understudy under Patrick Queen and maybe eventually replace him in this Steelers defense. I think Elliott has the physical talent to one day be a starter in this league. Then we get to round 7, and I haven't taken a receiver yet, so let's take one here. And Caden Weegan, the wide receiver out of Iowa. Now, Iowa didn't throw the football very often. They like to run the ball there in Iowa, but Weegan went to the Shrine Bowl this year, and I thought he might have been the most impressive receiver running routes out of anybody at Shrine this year. Like, he was absolutely electric. He was creating a ton of separation against different types of guys, smaller slot guys, bigger physical guys. I think as a slot weapon that could, kind of be your Scotty Miller, heading into next year, where he's, down the depth chart. He's not going to be a starter, but he can provide special teams value for you. You need somebody that can do that. With Calvin Austin III leaving the building this year, I think he could be your punt returner on day 1, can help out on kick return as well, but then he can also provide pretty decent depth at the wide receiver position as well, and maybe even provide some value for you in the slot. Then another guy that I'm really high on as a day 3 wide receiver prospect is Jordan Hudson. I'm going to double dip here. Get some nice wide receiver talent here in round 7 that I think is an awesome value. I think Jordan Hudson is, a very well-rounded receiver. He's got good size. He's a good route runner. He's good after the catch. He can make some tough catches at the catch point as well. Can run decent routes. Like, he's not elite in any one category, in my opinion, but he's just very solid across the board. And I think that this is somebody that could develop into a very solid wide receiver 3 at the NFL level. I really do. And with you having A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf, that's your dynamic duo. If Hudson can slot in the future as your wide receiver 3 in that kind of trio, I think that could be a really good future for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And, he could be good competition for Roman Wilson, who apparently this team still likes and wants to give a chance to in 2026. So that'll be my mock draft 4.0 here. Keep in mind, we are getting A.J. Brown as well, so that certainly is a selling point. But we get Emmanuel McNeil-Warren as a day one starting safety here in this defense. Dominique Orange, instant starter at nose tackle, in my opinion. Big Citrus. I mean, I just want to say that every single Sunday, man. Best nickname in this draft by far. Dalen Everett as a developmental future starter at corner. Romello Height as a day one, rotational pass rusher. You got Jalen Farmer as a potential future starting guard. Bishop Fitzgerald as somebody that has good size and instincts that I want to bet on. Keyshawn Elliott as a developmental linebacker out of Arizona State. Caden Weegan as somebody that provides special teams value and slot weaponry. Jordan Hudson, who I think has some wide receiver 3 upside. I think that this is a pretty decent draft class here for the Steelers, especially if you add on A.J. Brown on top of it. So grade my mock draft, A, B, C, D, or F down there in the comments section. I think this one's pretty good, guys. It's certainly a little bit out there going for a big blockbuster trade for A.J. Brown, but let me know what you guys think down there in the comments, and that'll be it for today's mock draft here on Steelers Talk. Of course, we do these every single week, so if you didn't like this week's mock, well, maybe you'll like next week's mocks a little bit better. We try to mix things up with different positions going early and later and all that different stuff. We're going to continue to mix it up here during the draft season, guys. I really do appreciate all of your guys' support. I'll see you guys next time, and until then, here we go, Steelers.